Good morning, students. My name is Zaripova. I'm a teacher of Bucharest State University. Today, I'd like to tell you about famous people because our lesson is about immortal tracks. You can ask me, what is track and why is it immortal? Track is a mark or path. Mark is translated into Russian as sled. Path is translated into Russian trapa. We can say lay a track, translated into Russian as прокладывать путь. What about immortal? Immortal means living forever, or famous for all time. Person whose fame will last for all time, like immortal being. В переводе на русский язык означает бессмертный. Now let's talk about famous people who left immortal tracks. Please, students, look at these pictures and tell me, what do these people have in common? And my next question is, what are their contributions to the development of science? To answer these questions, I would like to remind you about their biographies. Let's start from Alisher Navai. Alisher Navai was born in 1441 in Herat. He is a great poet, statesman, and founder of the Uzbek literature. His works covered an entire epoch in the history of literature. Alisher Navai wrote mostly in the Uzbek language. He was well known as a great poet and literary scholar. His important work is the quintuple, Hamsa, which consists of poems Hayratul Abror, The Confusion of the Blessed, Farhat and Shirin, Lily and Majnun, Seven Planets, and Sadi Skandari. They have been translated into many languages. His works have entered the treasury of world literature. Next famous person is Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy. If you look at your book page, there I've changed the pictures because you are the students of Russian philology, and it would be great if we talk about Russian writers as well. So, Leo Tolstoy was born in 1828. He was a Russian novelist and anarchist. He is famous for writing the books War and Peace and Anna Karenina and many other works. Here you can see the Indian man, Mahatma Gandhi. Who was Mahatma Gandhi? Mahatma Gandhi was the leader of India's non-violent independence movement against British rule, and in South Africa, who advocated for the civil rights of Indians. Born in Porbandar, which is situated in India, Gandhi studied law and organized boycotts against British institutions and peaceful forms of civil disobedience. He was killed by a fanatic in 1948. Let's go to next slide. And here you can see the famous writer William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is one of the most outstanding personalities in the world literature. He was born in 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, not far from London. Shakespeare's tragedies, King Lear, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, depict noblemen who opposed evil in the world. He had a natural gift for comedy as well. In his comedies, such as Two Gentlemen of Verona or As You Like It, were described love, friendship, and happiness. Since 1879, Shakespeare's Festival has been held every year at Stratford-upon-Avon. Now you can realize how unreal these outstanding people left immortal tracks, because they contributed their knowledge and even sacrificed their life for the development of science, culture, and art. Next slide, it's new vocabulary. Now students, could you please copy out the new words and let's translate them together. Please Repeat the words after me. Let's start then. Prestigious, престижный, initial, начальный, accidental, accidental, случайный, solid, твердый, prize, приз, absorb, поглощать, liquid, жидкость, scholar, ученый, cardboard, картон, invention, изобретение, fluorescent lamp, лампа дневного света, scrape, скрести, explode, взрываться, altered, изменено, sawdust, опилки, equipment, оборудование, substance, вещество, penicillin, пенициллин, inventions, изобретения, widely, широко, flammable, легко воспламеняющийся, virulent, ядовитый, predecessor, предшественник, precise, точный, satellite, спутниковая, modified, модифицированный, dishonesty, нечестность, inexact, неточный, permanent, постоянный, cathode, катод, randomly, случайно, gunpowder, порох. You know, students, that learning new words every day will increase your vocabulary and make your speech more professional and confident. Okay, let's do the next exercise then. It can help you to revise these new words. At the top of the slide, you can read the beautiful quotation of Shakespeare, which tells you that word has a power. Let me read this quotation for you. When words are scarce, they are seldom spent in vain. In Russian, this quote is translated as «Когда слов мало, они редко бывают напрасными». Now, let's do exercise number 1. Match the two halves of the expressions. First column starts from prestigious, initial, accidental, solid, cathode, peoples. And the second columns start from race, shock, lifestyle, prize, invention, block. Please, students, pay attention and try to match the half of the expression correctly. Now, let's check the correct answer together. Have you finished all? Let's check now. So, the first column are the same, and you notice that the second half of the expression changed their place. I'll read them for you. First one, prestigious prize. The correct answer is D, prize. Initial shock. The correct answer is B, shock. Accidental invention. The correct answer is E, invention. The fourth, solid block. The correct answer is B, F, block. Cathode rays. The correct answer is A, people's lifestyle. The correct answer is C. So, thank you, students. Now, let's do the next exercise. Here, you should fill in the table. Before, you should listen the dialogue first, and I prepared for you this text visually as well. Later, we will fill in the table together, and let's start to listen it.
Lesson 11. Immortal Tracks.
Hello, Dana. Where are you going?
Hi, Rustam. I'm going to the library. I'm to find the information about the scientists and their great works.
Oh, I have some information about them. If you want, I can give you.
Oh, that would be great. Do you have them with you?
Yes, in my computer. Let's sit over there and I will show you.
Okay.
Here is... Do you know who's Alfred Bernhard Nobel?
Nothing more than Nobel Prize.
Yes, the prestigious Nobel Prize is named after him. He invented dynamite in 1867, and it was accidental invention. Nitroglycerine was becoming a widely produced explosive material at the time, largely due to the fact that it was far more powerful than its predecessor, gunpowder. But the problem was that nitroglycerine was unstable, and it regularly blew up people and buildings without warning. Like many at the time, Nobel realized that nitroglycerine would be a lot more useful if they could only find a way to make it, not explode randomly. While working in a lab with a vial of nitroglycerine, the vial slipped out of his hand and hit the ground. After recovering from the initial shock and surprise that he hadn't been blown to bits, Nobel soon realized that he owed his life to the sawdust on the ground where the vial had landed, which absorbed the liquid when it hit the ground.
Oh, I didn't know about it. Let's see who is the next scientist with his invention that changed the people's lifestyle.
John Walker. Do you know him?
Oh, to tell the truth, I don't know him.
Well, he's an English pharmacist. In 1827, he invented the matches. He noticed that the stick he'd been using to stir the pot of chemicals had a dried lump on one end. Instinctively, Walker tried to scrape the substance off the end of the stick. Although not containing phosphorus, the mixture of antimony sulfide, potassium chlorate, gum, and starch was reactive enough that when he dragged it across the floor, the stick burst into flame. And the next one is John Stith Pemberton.
Oh, I guess I know him. He's the inventor of Coca-Cola. In 1886, he relied on Atlanta druggists to test and help him perfect a recipe for the beverage, which he formulated by trial and error. With the help of druggists, he worked out a set of directions for its preparation that eventually included blending the base syrup with carbonated water by accident when trying to make another glass.
Yes, you know him. What about Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen? Have you heard about him before?
Yeah, he's the scientist who dealt with X-rays.
In 1895, when he was performing an experiment using cathode rays, he realized that some fluorescent cardboards across the room was lighting up in spite of the fact that there was a thick block between the cathode ray and the cardboard. The only explanation was that light rays were actually passing through the solid block.
And nowadays, it's used as widely in medicine as penicillin. Do you know the inventor of it?
No. And who's he?
Sir Albert Fleming. In 1928, Fleming noticed a petri dish containing Staphylococcus plate culture he mistakenly left open was contaminated by blue-green mold, which formed a visible growth. Fleming concluded the mold released a substance that repressed the growth and lying the bacteria. He grew a poor culture and discovered it was a penicillin mold.
Our daily lives are governed by inventions. From what we wear to the food we eat and our methods of travel, it's all been invented or significantly altered by inventions.
Yes, and sometimes an invention comes along that doesn't just change the way we do things, but change the world. Thank you, Rustam, for your help.
Not at all. Now I have to go. I have classes. See you.
Oh, see you.
I hope you all understand the dialogue. Now I'll show you the complete table. You can check and correct your mistakes if you have any. The first one. Alfred Bernard Nobel. He invented dynamite in 1867. The second, John Walker. He invented matches in 1827. John Smith Pemberton. He invented Coca-Cola in 1886. William Conrad Röntgen. He invented X-rays in 1895. Albert Fleming. He invented penicillin in 1928. Next exercise, one more table in which you should put the sentences into the correct order. The sentences are from the text, the dialogue between Dono and Rustam, which we have listened together recently. Please, students, first of all, read all the sentences, try to understand, and later put them in correct order. I'll read the sentences for you. First one, A. When he dragged it across the floor, the stick burst into flame. B. Noble realized that nitroglycerin would be a lot more useful if they could only find a way to make it. C. The only explanation was that light rays were actually passing through the solid block. D. I should find the information about the scientists and their great works. E. In 1886, he relied on Atlanta druggists to test and help him perfect the recipe for the beverage which he formulated by trial and error. F. Fleming concluded that the malt released a substance that repressed the growth underlying the bacteria. Have you finished? Time is up, students. Well done. Now we can check it together. So the first answer is C. The only explanation was that light rays were actually passing through the solid block. The second, B. Noble realized that nitroglycerin would be a lot more useful if they could only find the way to make it. The third, E. In 1886, he relied on Atlanta druggists to test and help him perfect the recipe for the beverage, which he formulated by trial and error. 4 is A. When he dragged it across the floor, the stick burst into flame. 5th is D. I should find the information about the scientists and their great works. And the last one is F. Fleming concluded that the malt released a substance that repressed the growth underlying the bacteria. That's all. I hope you all done your work properly. And at the end you see the next text, which is called New Minor Planet in Samarkand. It will be your homework. You have to read the text and match the antonyms to the highlighted words. It says in exercise 10, which is on page 54. Please do exercise 11. According to this text, you should put the phrases into the correct place, and 12, which asks you to put the phrases into the correct order due to their implementation, which is on page 55. That's all, students. Now our distance lesson of English is over. Goodbye.